You do the Edge and Christian thing, you've got the TLCs, and after WrestleMania 17, you guys kind of just stop. Like I guess going out on a high would be the mindset. But around that time, it's weird, like looking back, all these things happen at one time. WCW goes under, and WWF buys WCW, and then we've got the invasion. So, like, because as a fan, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be, you got Sting, Goldberg, all these guys coming in. Not that we don't dream of Christian versus Mark Jindrak. But it was a big disappointment, I think, for fans. But for you guys, when you're there, like, what is the atmosphere like? Do you guys want some WCW guys to come in so you can kind of make some dream match scenarios and maybe do better business and make more money? Or is it kind of, oh, we don't really want to touch that stuff?
I never thought that there being a monopoly in any industry is a good thing. I thought the competition was good. I thought it fueled, both companies fueled each other. And suddenly there wasn't that. And there didn't feel like that urgency. There was always an urgency when we wrestled the Hardys. Not only was it trying to get to the top of the card or to make a difference in tag team wrestling or have people watch these 4 young kids eventually be 6 young guys. It was, we got to kick WCW's ass, and we can be a part of that. That was gone now. And it changed a lot of plans. Jay and I were about to split up, and then it all got put on the back burner because of the WCW thing. And then it got turned into Christian will turn on Edge, but he'll be a part of WCW. Huh? How is the guy who's only ever been in the WWF a WCW guy? That happens throughout the show, and now it just doesn't really make sense. And I think the fans sense that. And it's that time that I think a lot of people lost interest. Because when I ask people, if they say, oh yeah, I used to watch, when did you stop watching? When that whole invasion thing happened. Because it just didn't live up to any expectations, and it just didn't work. Thankfully, I think some have come back on board, but that was one of those moments that really, really, to me, it was not good as a whole for the industry. I think it's since recovered, and now you have, the all-ins and the, things of that nature. So there's like this groundswell of things happening, but it's taken a long time.
Well, so for you as a talent, one of the big things that people say is that a lot of the big WCW names were still under contract, so Vince would have had to buy them out. So, like, say you get Goldberg, he would have had to pay him $2 million to get him out of his contract and then pay him more money to come to WWF. And that's kind of one of the things of, it wasn't feasible. Do you think if that had happened, would that have been possible? Or do you think it would just be one of those things where all the guys in WWF would be like, if he's getting that, then I want to... Was it just one of those things that it couldn't be done? Or do you see a scenario where it could have been done?
I don't know. You have those guys, they get paid by Time Warner to sit there. Who wouldn't do that? I don't think any of those guys loved wrestling enough to take a pay cut and basically get paid to do nothing. Substantial amounts of money to do nothing. It wasn't going to work out that way. And I truly don't think it would have made that much of a difference, because I think the ball probably would have been dropped from a creative standpoint. Because you did have some great talent that came over. You had Booker, who eventually fought his way through it and worked his way through some really, really, strange creative decisions. And, I do think partially too, there was still that, well, we won the war, so we're not really going to use these WCW guys too well. I think there was a bit of that too.
But you were quite a pivotal part of that whole year. Do you remember a point? Because when we spoke to Matt Hardy, he said that he remembered 2001 going back to, I think it was Vancouver or something. And he said, it would be a building that had 13,000 people and it would always be sold out. And in 2001, there was like 7,000 or 8,000 people. Is there a point that you remember kind of going, oh, maybe the bubbles burst a little bit? Is there a point you remember that?
It was during that storyline. It really was. And I remember specifically being in St. Louis and looking out, because I'd always look out once, the lights went down, I'd just go check out the crowd. That was the first instance in a few years where I saw empty seats. And I went, oh, it's starting. Because up until that point, we could do double shots on Sundays. We could be going up against, let's say we're in Cleveland. We could be going up against the Cleveland Browns. Billy Joel could be across the street. Didn't matter. We were sold out. And then we'd hop on a plane and we'd go to Chicago. And the Blackhawks could be playing. And the Bears could be playing. We were sold out. That changed from that day. And that was in St. Louis. That's the first time. And from there, it just gradually kind of went down.